Alright, Chillcast MMA. Alright, so I'm talking about a fight that's going down November 14th, this Saturday, 2020, at UFC Fight Night. Felder versus Rafael dos Anjos. Obviously, Felder is stepping in on 5 days' notice. It's happening at the UFC Apex facility. For this fight specifically, I want to talk about José Quinonez, who's 30 years old. He's taking on Smolka at 29. Smolka, he's 16-7. José Quinonez, he's 8-4. Now for Quiñónez, he's 5-3 in the UFC, and for Smolka, he's 3-2. And both of these guys are kind of on similar trajectories at the current moment. And it's like, I'm just gonna get right into it. For Smolka, one of the things that bothers me is ever since, I guess he's come back to the UFC and he's been fighting at bantamweight, that wily slickness, it's like he has, when it comes to transitions, when it comes to grappling situations, I'm just thinking, especially in this fight, I guess before I get into some of the background stuff, in this fight specifically, one of the things I wanted to get into is just, it feels like Quiñónez is stiff enough and sturdy enough that when we get to grappling situations, one of the things that hasn't translated for Smolka is sort of that extra little bit of savviness that he was able to display via grappling. It's like when he was at 125, he was able to do it all day. At 135, just not so much. So I'm just worried about that. But this is the second fight for both of them this year. And they last fought 2 months apart. Jose, he fought in March. Smolka, he fought in May. And it's just like, I mean, around the same age, similar trajectories. But Smolka, he did say one thing. I guess I'm going to actually give you guys a direct quote. He said, I'll try and pressure him. He likes to move around. I guess he's talking about Quiñónez, obviously. He likes to move around and spend some time with Dominic Cruz and might have adopted some of that style a bit. So he said that via Just Scrap Radio, bjpen.com. And it's like, I don't know. It's one of those things where, Smolka, you can say that, but are you going to necessarily be moving around more? Is your style going to nullify that? If your style is going to be to move around more, that means that a lot of the things at bantamweight that I already feel like you're lacking, you're going to be lacking them even more because you're going to be trying to, quote unquote, stifle a guy that, first of all, I don't really believe that. So I don't know what you saw in the fact that you feel like you have to pressure him, because that's actually when Quiñónez does his most accurate damage, actually. Yes, you can go and point to the strikes that he's able to get finishes off of. And he's been in the cage with guys like Joey Gomez and Teruto Ishihara. And I know that was a while ago, but it's like, if you just look at recently, so those are the fights I'm talking about, his most recent ones. And I know the O'Malley one, that was kind of embarrassing. But if you just look at his most recent ones, his most accurate strikes come when guys are actually pressing him. And so for me to hear Smolka actively say that that's what he wants to try to do, all right, then a lot of your strikes are going to be soft because that's what they've been recently. And if you don't try to do it and you actually try to grapple the guy, I think he's actually awkward enough to where you're going to end up getting stuck on bottom. A lot of that swimming underneath and coming up and working the outside, being able to push the head to get him up against the cage, I don't really know in this one. So ultimately, I guess to just cut it short, that I wrote all these notes, have all these cards in front of me, I just don't know if Smolka at bantamweight is ready for this one, because Quiñónez, I can't give you anything outside of his counter striking is good. Obviously, Smolka likes to go to the body. Quiñónez, when he's moving back, he likes to aim for the head. I don't really know about this because the big question just comes down to Smolka. What's up with him at bantamweight? Is this going to be another fight where he loses, that's back-to-back, and he's out? Because for Quiñónez, I feel like if he loses, the UFC will be prone to keep him around. But with Smolka, he's sort of had an odd trajectory. I don't want to batter his recent history outside of the cage here. I feel like everyone can search that and knows what that's about. I just worry that if you can't get a guy like this out of here, then maybe you might need to go back down to 125, because at 135, you kind of just look like every other middling guy that's just sort of stuck around. Whereas at 125, you had a similar skill set that was sort of middling, but you were there was smoothness to it. You had finesse and finagle to it that at 135 you just don't have. That extra little bit of weight. And that quote, there was a reason why I read it. And that's because if you're talking about pushing them, okay, first, I don't think you have the gas tank for it. And if you actually do, then a lot of the stuff that you already are lacking is just going to lack even more. And for Quiñónez, just be awkward for this one, because to me, as of right now, that seems to be your MO and what you like to do. So I don't really have much for him outside of that. But like I said again, this is going down this weekend, tomorrow. UFC Fight Night, Felder versus Dos Anjos. This is going to be the second fight for both of these guys this year. Like I said, I'm expecting to see a lot of counters for Quinonez. I'm expecting to hopefully see a happy medium of between movement and settling into something for Smolka, because I don't really feel like Quinonez is going to lead the dance. But ultimately, if you're just going to ask me who do I feel like is winning this one, I feel like Quiñónez can get it via unanimous decision, and I do believe this could be a potential fight of the night contender. But again, who am I picking? Quiñónez, unanimous decision. On second thought, Quiñónez, split decision. So, all right, that's it for this one. See you guys this weekend. Nixon_speaks on Twitter. See you guys later on in the week.